I am a Christian.
I am a Christian. I am a Christian.
I don't swear.
I don't cheat.
I don't do drugs. I don't have premarital sex.
I don't. I don't.
I don't.
As Christians, sometimes we tend to focus on the don't do's in life.
What we can't do.
Well, yes, these are all guidelines given to us by God.
That is not all He told us to do. We base our lives on what we can't do.
And if all you focus on is the negative things in life, it'll be hard to grow from those things.
Sometimes that's all that non-Christians see. The I don't do side of Christianity.
And all they think that Christianity is rules and things that you can't do.
But in reality, the best part of Christianity are the things that we can do.
Through God, all things are possible.
God has given us the power to heal the sick, to find the lost. God has given us the power to do all things.
As a Christian, it is our job to promote the good news, to promote what we can do through Jesus.
Go into the world and preach the gospel to all creation.
As we go through our day-to-day lives, whether it be work, school, or sitting at a coffee shop on a Sunday morning,
That person sitting over there, that coworker, that friend, they are lost.
And they are unaware of one of the greatest things we get to experience by being a Christian. Yet the only way that they're going to know about that is if we take that one step and follow through and share with them the greatness of God.
if we would be so unselfish to share the one greatest thing in our life with the person next to us,
To tell another person that is lost, the same we once were, about the things through the one true God that we can do.
how when nothing in this world is there for you, He is there for you.
Through God, we can have a heart like Him, to love the person who is unlovable. That if we would step out of where we feel most comfortable and talk to the drug addicts and the lost and the homeless and realize that God has been there the whole time.
In God's eyes, all men are equal, and through Him we can look and see what He sees.
See the love that He has for each and every person in this world. So I challenge you,
Go through your day-to-day life as a Christian.
Focus your life around what you can do through God.
I am a Christian. I am a Christian.
I am a Christian.
I am a Christian. I can heal the sick.
I can reach the lost. I can love relentlessly.
I can change this world.
Good morning, SFCA. Can you believe it? Day 2. Before we get into section 2, and I have a special guest for us today, but let's just recap section 1. When we were talking about powers, presidential powers in section 1, and when we looked at the Constitution, when it comes to the powers, there are a few listed in the Constitution, but what has happened is over time the president's power has expanded to meet the needs of the people. We looked at a couple terms: mandate, which is the will of the people. Another term that we looked at in section 1 was forum. This idea, it's a medium of messages, of getting a message out. Just think about all the magazines we have, the newspapers, but more importantly, all the news channels, the news stations that we have. Currently today we have 24/7 news. So we looked at those presidential powers and how they've expanded over time. We looked at a couple presidents in the past where they, based on what was going on in the country at the time, expanded their presidential power. One was Abraham Lincoln, obviously. The second was FDR. We looked at Thomas Jefferson with the Louisiana Purchase. So when we look back in our history with our presidents, their power, presidents have expanded their power to meet the needs of the people. So now we're going to get ready to move into section 2. Let me go bring in our special guest and we'll get started. Good morning, SFCA. Joe Biden here. It's a privilege to be with you here today. And we're going to start talking about some of the duties of president. When I become president of the United States, the Constitution outlines 5 fundamental duties of the office that I'm going to hold. 1 is head of state. The second one is chief executive. 3 is the chief legislator. Number 4 is the chief diplomat. And number 5, commander-in-chief. I'm going to be in charge of our military. And over time, as our powers have expanded, and I'm certainly going to expand it when I become president, is I'll be the economic planner for this country, and I'll also be the leader of our political party. So I'm looking forward to it. And so we're going to take a look at some of these duties that I'm going to have when I become president of the United States. So let's talk about the head of state. The president represents the nation and performs many ceremonial roles. Kings and queens, when they come to the White House, I'm going to meet them. That's what I do. I meet the other heads of government. Every Christmas, I like Christmas. Do you like Christmas? I get to light the national Christmas tree. Like to give awards and medals. Those who participate like to give them medals. I'm good at giving medals. Making public service statements on important issues, meeting public figures, and you know what? I got an arm right here. I can throw a baseball. So when it becomes the duties of a president to be head of state, your man, Smoking Joe, he's ready for the task. My second duty as president of the United States is to be the chief executive. It is my job to see that the laws of Congress are carried out. I can bring people together. The left, the right, I bring them together in a bipartisan way, and we get things done for you, the American people. That is one of my roles. My job is to make Congress, help Congress work together, and then make sure that the laws that they pass are carried out. That's what I'm going to do when I'm president of the United States. And as the chief executive, I have lots of tools in my tool bags to influence the laws to make sure, one, they get carried out, but they're the laws that I want for the American people. One of those tools that I have is an executive order. It's just like me writing the rules. It's a rule that basically is going to force the law. I will use that executive order. Another tool I have is making presidential appointments. I'm going to put the right people, the smart people, in those key positions to help you, the American people, when I become president of the United States. And another tool that I can use, not only can I appoint officials, I can remove officials. So if I'm going to clean house, I'm going to get rid of some of those people that aren't doing their job. When they don't have the American people's interest at heart, I, President Joe Smoking Biden, am going to remove them from office. I can do that for you, the American people. Another tool I'm going to use for you, for us, the American people, is this idea of, it's a term called impoundment. You know, sometimes Congress, they do silly things over there. They spend money on crazy things, and sometimes they put money in too much money in these areas. And I have this power. As President of the United States, it's in my toolbox. I use this impoundment, which means I take that money that Congress said we're going to spend, I don't know, like on igloos or something. I don't know what we're going to do. I say we're not going to spend money on igloos, so I'm going to say you can't have it. The money's impounded. And that's one of the tools that I can use to get things done, to be the chief executive for the American people. Also, what I can do is chief executive, President of the United States, Smoking Joe Biden. I can grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against our country, the United States of America. A reprieve is nothing more than, I'm not going to let you get away with what you did. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to throw you in jail now. I'm going to wait a while. I can postpone your legal punishment. That's referred to as a reprieve. And I'll use that when I become president of the United States. Another thing I can do is a thing called a pardon. And a pardon is, I can say, you know what? You did something bad. You broke the law. But I'm going to go, pardon. It's all over. You're released from your legal punishment. And I'm going to use that, but I'm going to use it only in certain cases. Now, my other friend Barack, he pardoned a lot of people. I think you talked about that in your class. And when we started looking at all those people that Barack had this thing about drugs, and people with these little minor drug offenses, he let them out. He gave them pardons. I'm not going to do that, but I do have the power to release people from legal punishment, and that's referred to as a pardon. And finally, as your president, chief executive, one of the things I can do is I can grant amnesty. And what that is a whole group of people. I'm just going to pardon you. You did something bad against our country, but I'm going to forgive you. We're going to forgive, and we're going to forget. And that is called amnesty. The last time we saw that in this country, we had President Ford, we had President Carter, we had this thing called the Vietnam War going on, except it really wasn't war because we didn't declare war. But what happened is a bunch of young men, about the age of 18, when they were getting drafted, they decided they didn't want to be drafted. So they got on a Greyhound bus and they went to Canada. And they were hanging out in Canada. And I wanted them to come back to our country. Our presidents wanted them to come back to our country, so we granted an amnesty, which is nothing more than a group pardon. So, as a chief executive, when I become president of the United States, I'm going to get a lot of things done for you American people. I want to make sure that Congress comes together, passes laws that's going to help all of you. Not just a few, not just the rich, going to help all of us. Because I'm one of you. I'm one of you. And I'm going to use my influence to get things done for you, the American people. And yes, I can pardon people. Yes, I can postpone some things. I can grant amnesty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, chief executive, I'm going to make sure we pass laws that are good for all of us. Not just some of us, not for the rich, but for all of us. So I'm expecting and I'm hoping that I can count on your vote in 2020. Just think, Smoking Joe Biden. Wow. I'm almost speechless. I really don't know what to say. But I want to thank Mr. Biden for coming by today. So that's where we're going to stop here in Section 2. We'll talk about another duty that we have as chief legislator. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But that's going to be a wrap for today. So what I need you to do is do your current event article, right? We're going to take a look at something that has to do with the stimulus package. And then also what you need to do is complete and submit that worksheet 9-1. So I will see you tomorrow.